And the next one is the EMS Department Chief and Assistant Chief shall serve 1-year terms beginning May 1st. And then it says the EMS Department Chief and Assistant Chief shall be officers of the Village of Leo. And the Village Board shall have the power to appoint volunteer members. And then the Village Board shall have the power to remove any volunteer member. The Village Board shall have its sole discretion procure such vehicles and other equipment to function with the ambulance service, basically. Those are the parts that are removed from the current resolution.
What kind of upgrades did you do?
That's the whereases.
All the whereas.
The whereases are fine.
He's leaving those, just
Mayor, if I may offer, and your council can agree or not agree or come to it, but if in there, if you look at 22B, and this is, I pulled this up out of my file from dealing with Ed years ago. If you look at 22B, everything you're talking about doing is spelled out in here, and it's at the authority of, okay, this board here to discipline to and to dismantle at any time at once and so on like that. So everything that you're talking about in there outside of the resolution to create the department is dealt with. So if you reference back, if you wanted to say in compliance with General Municipal Law 122B, you would capture most of it. There's a little danger with that because there's also language in there that may be a little cumbersome for me to work around.
We don't need to do that at this particular time.
So, Mayor, if I can, I mean, I think the fire chief's two questions that he had, you know, and Chief, I certainly know when we had the meeting amongst us, the general consensus at that meeting was, I think as you talked about, that the ambulance workers should also be fire department members. Since that time, I believe that the conversation has broadened out a little bit. There was some questions from the other board members, just, okay, which way to go? So that's why I'm not saying that I think it's final at this point. I think it's still something that the board has to decide. And then, so the board members, I mean, you guys really do need to talk about where you're gonna pull from to fund this thing, starting whatever day it is that we choose to fund it. And, you know, I would encourage you to start having that conversation, you know, if not right now, then either later tonight or the very next meeting. Because, of course, answering that question is how you're gonna, you know, will also tell us when we can actually begin operating as the EMS department.
Mayor, at some point, will you open it up to general? I know we've been jumping in, officially open it up to general public.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think by regulation, we've got to separate the fire department from the EMS,
If you're gonna do it.
just a bill.
That's
But there's a lot of
not the
questions.
discussion that we need for this particular motion.
No. This motion is to create the department. Basically say we hash those battles out by May 1st. Right?
And again, I mean, we can pass the or you can pass the resolution tonight, and if at some point in the near future, you feel that you need to delay the effective date, you can delay the effective date, you know, push it off, but this does help with the billing agencies to see that we plan on taking action, you know, hopefully using their services starting May 1st. And it also just shows the public, you know, you guys are serious about it. I mean, you guys need to be going through the follow-through on this stuff.
I mean, let's remember, the reason that we're doing this is not any reason besides the street fund is gone, and we cannot afford to keep 2 full-time EMTs without it, or without billing. The other option is to raise taxes a lot, or not have paid EMTs. So, something has to happen.
We're pretty much all in agreement on this, let's vote for this and do something
Okay,
else.
so we
Yeah, I
have,
think we need to,
we have a motion and a second.
I think we need to expedite this. I mean, supposedly this was gonna be final last August.
Right. So, this at least gives us a path forward, I suppose. Let's vote on Rusty's motion and second to approve this without those passages. All right, we'll do, yeah, let's do the strawberry fest now. Got the 5K race and a parade permit for the strawberry fest.
Mr. Mayor, I had asked last meeting that we defer action on the 5K run, and for particular reasons, because in numbers of years past, there have been problems with that run, running up through the Friday night festival, and some extremely bad problems. Apparently, the last couple of years, that has been better. And it would be very nice if we could have better coordination this year from that strawberry committee, or that 5-run committee, to make sure that when that run starts on the time, that the things are happening with the police, et cetera, at the time, and that their volunteers are up through that giant festival now. That being said, my worries are, for this year, I'm gonna,
Are you making a motion
I am
to
not.
approve it?
someone else.
I mean, yeah, there's got a plan here, we just
I
gotta
was the
make
one
sure
that
we
asked
follow
to
the
be, I was the one
plan.
that asked to be postponed, so I'm telling you.
There's a couple of people here from the committee.
Oh, well,
You guys wanna say anything?
Great, thank you.
We have spectator control specifically through that area, from French Street to Park Street to Church Street. We have 30 volunteers. They wear reflective vests. We give them tape, correct? Caution tape, and they hold back, they create spectator boundaries with the caution tape and pretty much form a human wall all along that area where the vendors are. And that part of the race only takes the first, how much time would you say, John?
15 minutes.
Of the race is there, and then they're through there and it's done and it's gone and they're out of that area. So that's what we have been doing, actually, I think the past 2 years, and we use that to control spectators through that area of concern.
so the fire
I'm
police,
concerned it needs to be controlled on up to Church Street. That other section of front there, church.
We have 100 volunteers from the school, 100 youth and adult volunteers that line the entire 5,000-meter course. The only issue we had the one year was when they parked a stage
In the wrong spot.
perpendicular to the road, and it caused a tight funnel. And we made do on short notice to get through that spot, but last year
There
we
was
went off
no
without a hitch.
issue as far as the police told us, or.
We were right there in that same spot, like, we're right there in that spot as well. We coordinate with the police
The fire
in
police,
real time.
this is good, but in previous years, there have been significant issues because we're the fire police that do this. Anyways, that being said, what we would appreciate would be from you, or I'm saying this as if, what I believe we would appreciate from you is better coordination, better whatever, training, something for your volunteers so they know exactly where they're, what they're supposed to do, when they're supposed to do it. Because even with the tape, I have different reports about when they're there, when they're ready. I have a report, one year they're there 15 minutes ahead of the time, and people are told to get out of the way, and then there's nobody, and then there's people all over the place. So we need better coordination with your volunteers and the police or the fire police to make sure that that thing is solid there. That's my opinion. But I've already said that we're ready to do it.
We can have them come sooner and we can train them.
I just appreciate that because
Yes.
that's the big concern.
And
An
we're
awful lot
gonna
of
use-
people there now.
And we'll use more walkie-talkies this year between everybody so that there's more on the scene reporting so that they can give us those issues ahead of time.
Thank you.
A motion to approve the application submitted.
Okay.
I second that.
Alright, does anybody else have any discussion about that petition? Just for the 5K run Friday night, Friday evening. Take a vote on it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And yes.
Thank you.
Mark off the right thing. Yes. And then the next thing we'll do quick is the parade permit for the Strawberry Festival.
Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Mayor, similarly, quite often the Strawberry Festival gives us supporting documentation about what they are doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And once again, I would like to not vote on this particular permit tonight until we have a chance to speak with them some more and have more documentation on their plans for this year.
Now, is this, I guess this question for Jeff, is this the only permit they submit
Yep.
for the entire festival?
Yeah, but they always get with PPW, OPD, and I believe the fire department, and there's a map and,
Go through the plan? Okay, so I guess maybe we just do that before they approve this.
I would like that information.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Laura's quite privy to that.
file the stuff.
Yeah.
I would motion to table the,
Well,
this parade permit.
Yeah, we don't have a motion yet, so.
All right.
Right.
Just put on the agenda for next meeting.
Yeah.
Is that,
I'm just curious as to why this is the same every year. I don't know why we
the
should.
Strawberry Festival actually isn't the same every year. They do many things every year.
I'm
Change
talking
things.
about the parade.
This permit has been used as the permission for the entire Strawberry Festival. Now, to us, it seems like it's just asking about the parade, but this is the, as Jeff said, this is the.
it's a blanket permit.
In general, it gives them permission to do any and everything, and I want to know more of their detail before I vote for that. So it's not just.
Such as what streets they're gonna close on.
That,
Exactly, none of
where you're
that's
gonna
in-
put, where you're gonna put what, where you're gonna put that stage, where you're gonna do this, where you're gonna do that.
They have a lot of work that they do with
I
hiring the fire
understand that.
police and the,
I just
Which
want the
streets?
people sitting here to know what to expect the next meeting.
yeah,
Where they should be
none of
prepared.
that's here,
I
so.
personally think the next meeting is gonna be a little close to get all that.
And we're putting it off, we don't necessarily have to do it again next meeting, but we want more information from each side.
Oh, you mean to gather all that information?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, last time we approved the Strawberry Festival.
The dates, yeah.
The dates.
To things, but not the details.
Do that. All right, we're jumping around here. Yeah, I'll do that. All right, so we'll do the appointed chair for the zoning board, this is planning board, it's actually the zoning board. So I'd like to appoint, so that board has no chair currently. Chair left. So I'd like to appoint Jeff Van Wagen as the chair. We'll get appointed as the chair.
Wake back up.
Right, so I think
Not right now.
to make a motion for that, right? Is that how that works?
The mayor gets to make the appointment, the
Yeah,
board has to approve.
Right.
I think the mayor makes the appointment, and I think it's probably still subject to approval by the village board, as far as how he goes is.
So, let's vote on that. Fran?
Yeah.
Okay, Charles?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, yes. As long as you accept, you accept. Okay.
To approve,
Hold on.
And then the mayor actually just real quick on Jeff's appointment as the ZBA chair, he's on the ZBA now, right?
Yeah.
Because I know Cindy had asked about just the terms of office for all the chairpersons, so this doesn't change Jeff's appointment term, his term still ends whatever year it's ending.
Right. We do need more people for that, if anybody's interested. Anyway. Yeah, just wondering if we wanna do like public comment up to this point.
Yes.
Okay, all right, we'll do like a little public comment here in case, I know a lot of you probably heard this stuff already happened.
So my question is, then what meeting should we attend for the Strawberry Fest?
We will keep you informed.
Since it may not be the next one, but it might be the one after that.
We will keep you informed. I'll let you know. Yeah, we have to figure out when we get all this stuff. We'll let you know.
Do you have anything?
Are you on the strawberry Strawberry
Anybody
Festival
from the
Committee?
squad?
No, I'm a small business owner, I'm with that.
So we were just concerned that they may reroute it and not include North Avenue this year, and we want to make sure that we're still a part of it, of the festival and, you know, the events that go on. I know that, you know, past years, they sometimes said, we're not gonna close it off, we are gonna close it, and, you know, there used to be a lot of vacant buildings, and now they're full of new businesses, and since this is a one time of the year where we get, like, what, 7,000 people, I don't even know the number of, Really?
It's like, yeah.
20 to
It was 20 to
25,000?
25,000 people.
Well, that's even better. So that's the one time of the year when we get new people into our village that wouldn't normally know that we exist on North Avenue. And that is a enormous benefit to have them come see the new shops instead of the empty buildings down there, and to want to come back. So we're hoping to be here tonight to make sure that that would still be included, even if some decision was made when we're not here. At least you know our opinion that we want to be a part of it, and we want to do anything we can help to do that. Like, I know, for example, that we allow the outhouses to go on private property without any expense to the village. I personally supply all the electric for the last 5-7 years for the bands to play on that street, never asked for anything. Like, we want North Avenue to bring the people down there. Yeah.
Just let everybody know, it's been a battle for years, let everybody know there's more than Front Street and Lake Street.
There are, and then North Ave is coming up, it's coming.
The problem of it is that I have seen in the past from working with Strawberry Fest on the EMS part of it, and the bus driver part of it, because I'm also a bus driver, is where they load and unload the people is more towards the other streets. Instead of having maybe an alternative where maybe they can have some dropped off at this end as well as some dropped off at the other. Just as a balancing act.
Maybe have some drop off more towards North Ave than.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly, everybody gets dropped off right at front.
Yeah, because what they've been doing is like picking them up at Price Chopper, yada, 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 and dropping them off like Dunkin' Donuts kind of area.
Right.
So that they get sucked up into this area and then and we can relate to that because we were selling hot dogs and sausages one year out there for the squad in the fire department. And it was a pretty much hit and miss because everybody was coming in the other way. So just as a throwback there. Just throwing it out there.
Your best bet is to give me your contact information when we sit down and talk, to be there and with the Strawberry Festival Committee. And punch it all out there.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else, public comment up to this point? Well,
I'm always wondering over
okay.
there. Couple, it's back to the EMS stuff, so there's a couple points I need clarified. Because at the last board meeting, and I've heard it from a couple of times from the chief as well, my understanding is the remainder of the sweep fund was transferred over, and the village is supplementing the extension of that to cover those two EMTs until August 1st. Correct? And that's that. And then at that point, if everything falls in place and the building starts coming in, was to help start offset that. So I don't understand why there would suddenly be no money there. The village taxpayer, most of them don't realize, because it's played up as those two EMTs is the EMS, and it's not. The village has provided the ambulances, they've provided, all along it's been in the tax base except for those two. It's just it's been buried in the fire department budget. So the average taxpayer, unless they know what the hell they're looking for, isn't going to go go in and pull that out and really look at it. So again, my question is why suddenly it would become an issue of how to fund those two paid EMTs? That's up to you to settle. Okay? And the other part of it, I never thought I would see the day when I would say this, but I don't believe it's vital that someone to be on the EMS has to be part of the fire department. I hope that they would want to. I like being a part of the fire department. I came back to it. And I'd like to see it stay that way. But it should not be a solid qualifier for wanting to come to the EMS. Because if you look at it, go look at the numbers, you could probably verify, I'm probably full of crap, I think it's somewhere between 6 and 8% of our members are actually dual where they go over to the fire side as well. Okay? So it's not gonna cripple one side or the other. This department being set up as it's targeted towards right now in the resolution put in place tonight, I believe will actually create harmony that should have been there a long time ago and could have been there a long time ago. Because instead of it becoming a hierarchy of, you know, authoritarian all the way through, it becomes a partnership. And it has to work. And it's no different than any other departments. You, sir, are the default head of it.
Yes.
And as such, you can make sure that those two factions work together, or you take them both to task, not just one.
Anybody else? All right, we'll keep going.
Plus, you get the bill.
Sure, Bill, okay.
On that note, just a little.
All right, let's do the new fire department number. Somebody
Fire
have a
department
form?
member. Yes, we have a new member proposed for membership and passed by his company, Croton Hose Company 3, and passed by the, passed by the fire board of the village fire department, and his name is Thomas A. Kelly. And I make a motion that we accept Thomas A. Kelly as a member of Croton Hose Company number 3 and the Louisville Fire Department.
A second.
Vote?
Yes.
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 And yes. Let's just get everything. One of them asked me.
Take a message from the crowd.
Message from the crowd, no. Somebody asked me at our board meeting once a while ago about this. Just want to make sure it's the same person. So that,
It's pretty convincing, actually.
okay. Circulate that around.
Rodney, did we need to sign that, resolution there?
The one we just passed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel, I do, you know,
Okay.
I just record the vote.
Okay.
Get your credit card.
Credit information. We want to talk about the CCA mega thing next?
Yeah, you will.
All right, so the CCA, the mega, they went out to bid, and the bids are coming back. There's 2 webinars on the 12th and one on the 13th. And they need our answer whether we're in or out by 5 p.m. on the 13th. It's no problem, because our board meeting's not until after that. So, our question is, what do we do? As far as a lot of other municipalities are authorizing the head, mayor, and maybe another person or whatever to watch the webinar. If it meets a set of criteria, then approve, and if it doesn't, disapprove. 5 p.m. on the 13th, which is next Wednesday. We won't know the bid or the price until Tuesday. Well,
Gosh, that's just kind of the opposite of how they told us this was all gonna go.
so, one of the webinars is 7 o'clock Tuesday the 12th. I mean,
7 o'clock in the morning or
No,
night?
PM. Technically, if we all wanna, sit around a computer, we could all watch it. Or we can delegate a representative to do that.
Other boards are also just having a special meeting, at that time,
Right.
or on one of those days. The idea being somebody watches the webinar and then everyone else comes to a special meeting, or everyone goes to the webinar and that's your special meeting, and then you vote to authorize participation or not.
Right.
Rusty, to your point, I'm pretty disappointed in how this is rolling out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's not as advertised really.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, because when you were gonna ask us to do this thing and we have certain expectations, et cetera, this isn't a good way to start the relationship.
And then, so we asked that question of why it's so quick, and the answer was because the rate for power changes daily. So the quote is only good for 48 hours or whatever it is. Might be, might be worse.
But they're willing to lock into a 2-year contract.
Right, yeah.
Well, I think the reason why we're last on board, because we're last to get in there.
No, that's the same deal for everybody.
Yeah.
Because the quote won't be available to anybody else till then
Right.
also.
Right.
I know she said there's like 47,000 people involved.
Yes. Overall.
If you delegate to one or more of you the ability to say yes or no, let's participate, then your delegation should be by motion or resolution, and it should say specifically, you know, okay, if the pricing is anything below cents per kilowatt hour, I guess, then it's hereby, you know, the mayor is authorized to approve that. But I'm not sure if we've got that number.
yeah, we have to be able to compare it to the NICEAG rate.
Right. So I couldn't tell you what that number is.
Mr. Mayor, when do we think that, once again, that the pricing will be out?
The 12th.
Do we know when on the 12th?
One of the webinars is in the afternoon, so I would assume the morning, maybe.
Are we gonna have a special meeting?
Okay. We can do one on the 12th, but I know there's a webinar at 7 at night.
What's that? Let me check this out.
It's a Tuesday, next Tuesday.
So-
13th is DRI, right?
13th is DRI, yeah, but that's, we have to have our answer by 5 o'clock the 13th, so.
So Rusty, to your question, so Monday, March 11th at 2, all the RFP responses are due to Mega, and they're gonna look at everything, and then Tuesday, March 12th at 2, they're gonna email a summary of the analysis and recommendation, and then Tuesday and Wednesday, they're hosting webinars at the various times that
What's a
the mayor's
webinar?
pointed out. It's a thing on the internet, a series of tubes constructed by spiders.
So it's like a,
Rusty, we
video
really
call.
have to get you online.
Al Gore.
They can all huddle around Rusty's computer at the smoke shop.
Glorified Snapchat, how's that?
So we'll open a computer, log in, and there's like a, almost like you're there, but not really.
It's like watching a movie, Rusty, you got
It's like a
popcorn,
movie,
you like
yeah.
it.
And so when will that happen? On Tuesday?
Mayor, do you recommend?
7, it was in that email, right?
You know, I just scrolled through it, I didn't see specific webinar times, but 7 would be.
Yeah.
Yes. So do we need a meeting sometime after 7 on Tuesday night, even though we don't want it?
Or at 7, and we'll watch,
At 7,
we'll watch the
watch it.
movie together. Bring some popcorn.
So that's a thing we would want to be there at 7 for to see.
Probably.
Do you have, like, where would you do that?
Yeah, that was.
And it would be a public meeting with you all meeting, so any
Do we get
presentation
Hubbard?
should be.
I'm gonna project my computer onto the screen. Okay.
So that's one way to approach it, is for us to have a meeting. The other way to approach it is to quit, or the other way to approach it is to give the mayor and whoever else authority.
I suppose that's 3 options.
You want to do it?
No, I think we all need to see it.
If we all available. Tuesday was one more
As much as
available.
available.
Do we have enough people that will work for it to have a quorum? Because if we don't have a quorum, then we can't make a decision. We can watch it, but we can't make a decision.
What time of the day is this again?
7 o'clock at night.
7 PM here.
I'll be there, so I'll make sure I'm not doing that. Yeah, I'll be there too, so
No, 12.
we'll be fine. still see the information, Ron.
Is that what we wanna do?
I think we have to. Not knowing any of the information.
In the meantime, we're gonna do a little more research on what electricity's going for, what icing's going for, and this
There's
and
a
that.
time to do that. I'm sure they'll present all that.
Yeah, presumably that'll be part of the presentation, but only insofar as you can trust them.
That's
Yeah.
right.
True.
I recommend looking at your own bill,
Yeah,
price per kilowatt hours out there.
it is. From what I've found, just from talking to people that work on it, the price per kilowatt hour might be different.
It's different.
Yeah. Okay, so next Tuesday, 7 PM.
Hubbard?
Try for Hubbard. Hubbard doesn't work, maybe this training center. We need somewhere with a projector.
He's got a good one over there.
So Chief, you're offering up the training center if we need it?
And we'll just bring them up with you. Very much what.
I assume
Hey,
we're-
we got popcorn there too, and a commercial popcorn machine for you, Charles.
Let's go to the training.
No, the training
All
center.
right, training center, there we go, that's
We'll
settled.
go to training.
Go to training.
I know.
We'll have to put in the paper,
Now I know where you're going with that.
we'll have to put in the paper,
We got. Anyway. You're going to the meeting, all right.
put in the paper for us.
Okay.
Well,
Not enough meetings, Fran.
Oh, I know, not enough there.
We're at. What do we wanna do? All right, next we'll do the AIM.
And that meeting's at 7, but you gotta be there before that.
Well, yeah, be there a little early, the webinar starts at 7
Yes, should probably be down 6:45.
or 6:30. 6:30. Yeah, we'll advertise that for 6:30, just because the webinar starts at 7. So that way we're not late. Probably have a few problems.
Yeah, there'll be a quick speech.
Yeah. All right, so next we have a support letter for AIM. Anybody not aware, and the governor's proposed budget, he cut AIM funding, which is state funding for local municipalities. The village of Owego, that this year got $37,000 from AIM. Next year, that number is set to 0.
Oh.
So that doesn't help us at all. Our AIM funding in the past has been as high as $200,000 to $300,000. So it goes up and down based on the year. So one thing that the New York Conference of Mayors has suggested is that we prepare letters, which I did, to our state representatives, basically making them aware that we are strongly against the cutting of this fund. And send them in. And it also helps if we have a resolution that passes to authorize these letters to go to the state representatives, because that shows that the board is on board with what's in the letters.
So you want a resolution to authorize these letters?
Yeah,
And the resolution.
they're the same letter, I just put different names at the top.
And the resolution will say something along the lines of,
You're killing
I'm
me.
trying to think of,
Just want to motion.
Just a motion to approve them.
Motion to authorize the mayor to express support.
Right,
He's got a lot of mail coming, so,
right,
just so you know.
yes. You'll be getting mail from
I
every,
propose
I'll
that,
make-
please, when they said,
I'll make that motion.
okay, so authorize,
Keep saying, man.
yeah, it's a-
Normally not too verbal, but, no, I don't want that talking.
to send these letters out.
Yeah. I did.
To authorize the support letter for AIM, I'll take it right from the agenda.
It's kind of a,
Yeah.
yeah, support of AIM, support of cutting it.
So I make that motion.
Okay,
Rand second.
all right. We'll vote on that?
yes.
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 And yes.
some language there, like with the which ones.
Here's the signed letter from Mel
About
about
something about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I got kind of.
This is the one reminder, I can't see it far in the future.
we'll remind you, Charles. All right, another thing that's on the agenda that was from last agenda was the letter of support for Leo Gardens Phase 2. So we wanted some more time to review that. Did everybody review it? What I don't have is, didn't they give us a letter of support? I had the information.
Mr. Mayor, when we give them a letter of support, what are we obligating ourselves to, anything, or just general deal?
Yeah, just that we support their project, more or less.
Because we probably don't support the pilot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Uh,
You guys might.
And if we had any say in anything, we certainly would like to have some say in, rather than generalize, we would like to have some say in the drainage of that whole project and all the lands up there.
And the sanitary.
Yeah, so we
Definitely have some
so we have-
concerns
we
there.
have support of your project, but we have a number of concerns.
Right.
I don't know how we do that.
Emergency lanes. I got brought to one meeting, I have to look back.